Hi everyone, Professor Sweeter here, and this is a quick video to help get you ready to submit your midterm speeches. Yay! It's midterm speech week. I know you're so excited. You're really looking forward to standing up in front of your cameras and delivering your speeches. I know for a lot of you, public speaking is one of the scariest, most horrifying things in the entire world. And I know also that right now when we're in an online format, it's a little bit surreal because you are talking to a camera and no one else. It's an empty room around me. But that being said, I know also that you're going to deliver some amazing, amazing midterm speeches this week. So this video is intended to help show you how you are going to be uploading your speech, how you'll be leaving feedback, how you'll be graded on the speeches, and then finally to offer some helpful tips for you. All right. So what we're going to do is go right into Blackboard and give you the tour of how to submit your midterm speech. So in your midterm speech folder, the midterm project folder, as you scroll down, you see the introductions. You've got the project's introduction there. There's the midterm rubric. We'll be looking at that again in a few minutes. I've already released a few videos for you on thesis statements. There's where you submitted step one, another video on speech outlines, and a link to the outline, and then a video on midterm hooks and transitions. And I hope that these videos have been helpful to you as you've been going through this process. So now we are at the final part where you're going to be submitting your midterm speech. So first of all, at the top, I want to show you this link. It says, click here to submit the final draft of your speech outline. And essentially, when you did your rough draft, I reviewed it, I gave you some suggestions, I sent it back to you. Your job now is to revise that outline and then to submit it to me before you submit your final presentation, your video. So this is the link that you would use to do that. And it's pretty simple. Just click on it and you can submit the outline as a Word document or a PDF. Below that is the link, step 3, presentation final outline. And as you can see by this little doodad here, this is a Mind Tap activity. So when you click on this link, it's going to bring you to Mind Tap. Specifically, it's going to bring you to this page. Now, a couple things that I want to point out for you when you get to this particular page. If you do want to find this, you can find this in the main menu for Mind Tap as well. But probably the easiest way is to link it the way you just saw me do. At the top right here is a rubric, and that's going to be important. We'll come back to that in the middle. There are some instructions right here. It talks about completing your project in 3 parts. First, it says perform your 5 to 8 minute speech. Well, remember it's 6 to 8, so please aim for 6 to 8 minutes. Below that, it says watch and review your own presentation using the assignment rubric right there. So you'll be watching yourself and grading yourself. And this is a graded part of the speech process. You need to watch and review 3 of your classmates' presentations. So again, same thing. After you record your speech, after you do your own self-eval, MindTap will actually give you 3 other speeches to review. And it will give you this rubric. Again, we'll come back to that in a minute, and you'll be reviewing 3 of your classmates. All right, so that's just a general overview of what you'll be doing to complete this midterm. So really, you have 4 parts there. The first part is submitting that outline. The second part is recording your speech. The third part is reviewing your own presentation. And then the fourth part is reviewing 3 of your classmates. All right, so here's how you're going to submit your speech. If we scroll down a little bit, you see here this section called Work in Progress. And this is where you are going to submit your speech. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer, I am using Zoom to record this video right now, and Zoom and MindTap are not going to work exactly the way that you will see it when you go to record your speeches yourself. The reason being, essentially, I'm already using my webcam, and what I'm about to launch is also going to try to access my webcam. We'll get there, all right? So when you're ready to record your speech, you come right here where you see this big add button, and you're gonna click on the plus sign. And it gives you a couple options here. It gives you the option to add a video, a file, a link, a meeting. Combined video is not something that works for us, so you don't have to worry about that. And in this case, you're going to click on File. Now, this is really, really important, guys. You must record your speech in MindTap, okay? You must log in here and you must record your speech here. You cannot do it in another program. You cannot do it in YouTube and then submit the link. It needs to be in MindTap, please. If you are having any problems with recording your speech in MindTap, please text me immediately and let me know, and we'll come up with a way to troubleshoot. So when I click on video, it's going to give me these options. Again, as I just said, you need to record your video right here in MindTap. And this is where Zoom's not going to work for me. I'm going to click record video. And essentially, you're going to get a big pop-up right here in the middle of your screen. You can see at the top here, it says unable to access your camera. And of course, that is because I am using my camera for Zoom right now. But you will see controls at the bottom here for your camera and for your microphone, and you'll be able to start and record yourself and essentially look at yourself as you're recording, kind of as I'm able to do right now. As I'm talking to you, I'm also able to see there's a little icon with my face in the corner. All right, so that is how you will record your speech. At the end, after you record your speech, please know that you can do this multiple times. You don't have to do it all in one take. You can start and then go, I messed up, and start again as many times as you need to. And I promise you, I do exactly the same thing when I record these videos for you. As you record different videos in MindTap, you're going to see them appearing down here in the submission box. And then when you find that you've got the video that works best for you, you'll be able to click a star next to it, which will illuminate the submit button, and then you can submit your speech. Okay, so I apologize, you can't exactly see that given the programs I'm using right now, but when you're ready to go, again, you'll select the speech that you want by clicking that star, turning it red, and then this button will turn blue, and you'll be able to submit your speech. Easy peasy. All right, let's take a second and look now at the rubrics. Now, there are two rubrics that we're working with for this particular project. Here's one of them, the grading rubric, and then there is this other one, which I know you've seen because I emailed it to you a few weeks ago with my feedback. So let's look at this rubric first. This is the rubric that is built into MindTap, and this is the delivery rubric. So when you are grading yourself and when you are grading your peers on their speeches, you will be using this rubric, and it's pretty simple. You just click in the boxes as you want to choose each of them. And as you look through this rubric, you're going to see that much of it focuses on how people deliver their speeches. So points on opening an engaging way, well organized, relevant information, credibility. And then as I scroll down more, you'll see things such as proper grammar and vocabulary, volume, tone, pacing, enthusiasm, vocal variety, which has to do with how you modulate the tone of your voice. Scrolling down a little bit more, pronunciation, verbal fillers such as like, yeah, and so, those kind of things, and then eye contact. So you can see this rubric really emphasizes those delivery, those different things that help showcase you as a speaker, not necessarily how you planned your speech. So after you do your speech, you will complete this rubric 4 times, once for yourself, and then 1, 2, 3 times for your peers. Now, the other rubric right here, which I know you've seen before because I emailed it to you, this is the outline rubric. And this is generally the one that I gravitate towards. This is when I use the most. This one is different because it emphasizes more the different parts of the outline. I'm looking for your hook, your credibility, your points. I'm looking for your topic and thesis, how your reasoning highlights and supports your thesis, transitions, organization, and so forth. This has a little bit of delivery on it, but it also has references and visual aid. But again, this is going to emphasize more your outline. Now, when it's time to grade your speeches, what you'll see is you and your peers will grade you using this, and I too will grade you using this rubric on your delivery. And then I will also grade you using this rubric and your outline. And where I committed where I submitted feedback to you on your speeches, I kept a copy of those rubrics. And so I compare the two of them from your midterm rough draft to the midterm final. And then your final grade for the speech will be quite simply an average of those two grades. And I will submit that to you in an email after the fact. All right. So pretty simple. That's how you'll go in and you'll record your videos. I do want to remind you that you have 2 different due dates that you're working with this week, and you'll want to confirm these in Blackboard. One due date is the date that you need to record your video speech by. And then the other due date is the date that you need to submit all of your feedback by. The reason for due dates is quite simply, I know that almost everyone records their speech on the same night, and it's impossible at that point for you to both record your speech and view everyone else's speech if you're all recording at the same time. So that's why we have that rolling deadline there. Okay. All right. Couple last minute tips that I want to give you in terms of preparing for your midterm and making sure that you have a great speech. First of all, practice, 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 practice. Please practice. Line up stuffed animals, line up Lego men, put the dog and the cat in front of you and practice. Practice in front of the mirror, practice in front of the computer with a webcam going, however it goes, but do practice. I myself have had to do a speech very recently, and I realized I didn't practice as much as I should have. And then I had to do a dress rehearsal for someone, and the whole time I'm going, oh, I should have practiced more. So please practice. It does make a huge, huge difference. The other thing that I want to remind you is not to read in your speeches. I know a lot of the speeches that we see on TV that are given by politicians or dignitaries or people who have some sort of status, a lot of those speeches are read, but please realize that a lot of those speeches are not written by the people giving those speeches. And so it's written by someone else. And in that case, it becomes important that they do read the speech word for word, teleprompters in front of them so that they can follow them. In this case, we are modeling our speeches after what a true speech should look like. And that is where you're using notes and you are just glancing at your notes from time to time and really speaking naturally. But again, that's where that practice comes in, because as you practice with your notes, in this case, your outline, you will be able to have a consistent speech time after time after time. The other thing that I want to remind you is not to rush your speech. All right. 6 to 8 minutes is a pretty specific amount of time. And I realize oftentimes people get nervous and they go, la, 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 and they speak really, really quickly and they're done in 2 minutes. That's where practice comes in. Practice with a timer, in fact, a stopwatch, and make sure that you've got that even keel and you can get to your 6 to 8 minutes. Along the same lines, don't go over either. I know a lot of times people get so enthusiastic into their topic, or they get nervous and they get a little bit lost and they go over. This speech is supposed to be 6 to 8 minutes. I'm a little bit forgiving if you go over the 8 minutes, but the reality is you need to stick to about 6 to 8 minutes. You really, truly do. What happens is if you go over time, you lose your audience. And quite honestly, it's not as polished a speech anymore because you've gone so far off track with the information that you're talking about. The other thing that I want to remind you is in these particular speeches, you want to aim to be understood. Okay. Some of you have some very, very technical topics, or quite simply, you were used to writing in a very technical, esoteric way. And while that's great when you're writing an essay or a term paper, it's not something that's going to serve you well in a speech. So I do want to remind you to aim to be understood. Use language that is simple, it's clean, it's effective. Don't use too many different big words. Don't try to clutter the way you speak by saying too much to draw it out. Instead, aim for short, clear, simple ideas, because your audience will understand you and appreciate your speech much better if you do it that way. Remember, you're sharing your expertise here, and so we can assume that you're an expert, and also that your audience maybe doesn't have the same information or background knowledge that you have on a particular topic. So it is okay to simplify your language. I hesitate at saying dumb down a little bit, but really simplify your language and make it accessible to everyone. All right, finally, I do hope that you have fun with this assignment. I know it's very common for people to get nervous, but again, you're speaking to a computer screen. There's just a little light there and you're speaking to it, and there's no one else in the room, hopefully. And while it is nerve-wracking to be in that situation, please, please, please have fun with this. Don't get nervous. Um, I think what you'll find is once you start talking, you get into the flow of it, and that nervousness really subsides. And in the end, you do, especially if you've practiced and you've really polished and developed your speech, you do produce something pretty awesome. All right, my friends. So there it is. If you have questions or concerns or something's going wrong when you are trying to submit your speech, please do not hesitate to text me immediately. I'll do my best to jump in and try to assist you. But I am looking forward to some great speeches this week. You have some interesting topics, and I wish you the best of luck.